We're live at Chartiers Valley High School, the site of a Week 3 Allegheny 9 matchup between next-door neighbors, the West Allegheny Indians, coming to Bridgeville to take on the Chartiers Valley Colts. Let's take a look and see what the West Allegheny Indians did last week against North Hills.
Contest 2017 Chartiers Valley Colts under the coaching of Dan Knaus.
Will Weber will take the direct snap, and he waits. Cuts left, has some room, down to the 40, and he's going to be caught from a couple North Hills Indians. Throws to Mateo Van Damia. He slips through a tackle, slips through some more, down to the 35. An impressive run by Van Damia, and he's finally going to be brought down at the 36-yard line. Divin rolls to his left and throws a long ball, and it's caught by Jake Davis. Jumping grab right at midfield, and it's going to be another first down. Will Weber throws the pass to Van Damia on the screen. He has some room, and he's going to be caught from behind by Damon Thompson. It converted last time, getting down to the 1-yard line. This time it needs a score. Will Hurt fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by West Allegheny. What a turn of events. Will Hurt couldn't hang on to the snap, and it's recovered on the play by Brett Mangold. Carried the load for most of the game. He'll throw the pass. Left side, Van Damia on the screen. He's got some space. Makes a move. Falls forward down to the 50-yard line. Splits the defense up the middle, has the first down, ball pops out again, and for the second time, it's West Allegheny football. Flatty, direct snap, up the middle, he's got some space, to the 10, to the 5, and Dante Flatty is in. Touchdown, West Allegheny. His West Allegheny team to victory last week in overtime, come from behind win against the Indians of North Hills. He had a career high 130 yards last week on 31 carries, a back-breaking day for the senior Will Weber. And here come the West Allegheny Indian kicking team. Chartiers Valley won the toss, elected to receive. So back deep to receive for the Colts, Connor Barrett, alongside Logan Scott, Colby Stout to do the kicking duties for West Allegheny. A key matchup for both teams. Chartiers Valley comes into this game winless on the year, 0-3, while West Allegheny comes in 2-0, but is reeling after an overtime win against North Hills as Logan Scott downs it on his knee at the 14-yard line, and Chartiers Valley will set up shop right there. Hello, everyone. I'm Brennan Ross. I join alongside my partner, Joe Smeltzer. And, Joe, what does Chartiers Valley have to do in order to upset the West Allegheny Indians?
Right, key number one, no turnovers. Last week, Chartiers Valley, they played at Latrobe, moved the ball a lot, had over 450 yards of offense, but had 7 turnovers, ended up losing the game. 2, run the football. It's going to be tough without Steve Olsen, so John Kyle and the gang are going to have to pick up the slack running the ball. And number 3, no dumb penalties. To beat a team like West State, you have to be smart.
So Char Valley will set up at the 15-yard line to start the game. The Reed Brueggemann, the quarterback, will pick up the bad snap, falls forward to the 18-yard line to set up second down and about 7. The offensive starters for Chartiers Valley, starting quarterback and captain Reed Brueggemann leads the offensive attack. The running backs, big news is a late scratch. Steve Olsen out with a previously injured broken arm that he suffered his sophomore year. He's going to be replaced by the trio of John Kyle, Troy Donofrio, and Connor Barrett. Brett Hicks is the fullback. We'll get you to start the rest of the offensive starters momentarily as Brueggemann steps back under pressure, and he's going to be wrapped up and sacked in the backfield. Van Damie applies the pressure. Gallant finishes the sack, and Chartiers Valley is backed up to the 12-yard line.
This is what West Allegheny wants early. If Char Valley's going to catch West Allegheny, probably have to do it pretty quick with the adrenaline pumping from the home crowd. So West State, good start. Negative 3 yards from Char Valley so far this possession, and forcing a 3-and-out will be huge for the rest of this first quarter.
The receiving core for Chartiers Valley, Anthony Doyle, Connor Barrett, and Dylan Ablack is the starting 3 receivers for Chartiers Valley. You'll see Ray Olkowski and Logan Scott thrown in there every once in a while. The tight end, Sean Bannis, and we'll get you the offensive line momentarily. 3rd down and 13 as Brueggemann on the read option gets back to the original line of scrimmage. And Chartiers Valley goes 3-and-out on the first offensive possession. The offensive line for Chartiers Valley, at left tackle, you see Doug Krause and Jaden Davis switching in and out. Krause started in at left tackle. The left guard, Hunter Curran, the uncle, or the cousin, I should say, of Joe Rossi, head coach of South Fayette. The center is Zane Snyder. Right guard, James Lang. And the right tackle, Ryan Verkamen, one of the captains for Chartiers Valley. Armando Novelli will go back to punt, a low snap, and it's off his foot and is going to roll. Take a Chartiers Valley roll down to about the 46-yard line, which is where West Allegheny will set up. 1st down and 10. Taking a look at this West Allegheny team coming off of an overtime win versus North Hills, a game in which West Allegheny did not play particularly well. What do the Indians have to do in order to fix the mistakes that it made last week?
Number 1, from the defensive side, the ball is forced turnovers. As I mentioned earlier, the Colts turn the ball over a lot. West State forces a lot of turnovers. They forced 3 last week. Number 2, don't get complacent. West State hasn't put 2 good halves of football together. And number 3, contain Reed Brueggemann, one of the better quarterbacks in the Allegheny 9 Conference.
You'll see a lot of this all game and all season. Wildcat formation as Weber off the left side breaks away from some tacklers, spins his way off of Logan Scott down to the 30-yard line, and he's brought down by a couple Chartiers Valley Colts at the 30-yard line. One of the more impressive 16-yard runs that you will ever see. Will Weber showing off his skill early on.
Picking up right where he left off from a career night last week, Will Weber doing what he does so often and what coaches love as well as myself, getting that extra yard, spinning off the tacklers. Will Weber off to a good start. West Allegheny.
Starters for West Allegheny, quarterback change. Cameron Cruz will get the nod at starting quarterback. That is, another West Allegheny does not line up in the Wildcat formation that you see on your screen right now. We'll get you the rest of the starters after this play as Will Weber off the right side, and he's going to be brought down as he crosses the 25-yard line. Making the stop for Char Valley is Dom Vaccarello. The diminutive 5'7" linebacker comes in and makes the stop. It's 2nd down and about 2. The running backs for West Allegheny, you'll see a mix of Will Weber and Dante Flatty alongside Tyler Gallant sprinkled in here and there. Fullback Nate Vislowski is replacing Anthony Takas, who has a mild concussion he suffered last week against North Hills. The receiving core, you'll see Noah Ledford here and there, but he's going to be on limited snaps after suffering a an MCL sprain earlier on in the week as Weber goes up the middle. He's met by Okoski and Doyle, pushed backward, and the forward progress is stopped at about the 22-yard line, and they get 3rd down and 1. The rest of the receiving core, as I said, Noah Ledford, you'll see him here and there, but limited snaps for him. Isaiah Crow, Colby Stout, and Jake Davis will also see a lot of time at wide receiver. The offensive line, Anthony Delavate at left tackle, Seth Rosen at left guard, Zach Hogue at the center, Spencer Mason at right guard, and Sebastian Ricketts at right tackle. 3rd down and 1, a lot of Wildcat, actually all Wildcat for West Allegheny on its opening drive. Down to the 22-yard line. Weber up the middle, and he picks up the 1st down as he's met by Curran from behind. Gets inside of the 20-yard line to set up a 1st and 10 from the 18.
A good block there by Nate Kozlowski, filling in for Anthony Takas, a fullback. West Allegheny struggled on 3rd down last week, was only 3 for 11. To do better the rest of the season, its offense will have to improve on those 3rd downs. So West Allegheny had 3rd down there, got the 1st down, and huge credit to both Will Weber and Nate Kozlowski for throwing that block.
West Allegheny now 37% on 3rd down in the young season, converting its 7 out of 19 attempts on the young year, as Dante Flatty now sees his first snaps in the Wildcat formation. Goes up the middle, and he's brought down by Barrett at about the 16-yard line. 2nd down and 8 coming up for West Allegheny. Keep in mind that West Allegheny, in all 6 of its appearances inside the 20-yard line, has scored touchdowns every single time. A perfect 6 for 6 inside the 20-yard line, and offensive coordinator Mark Davis would love to make it 7 for 7 on the opening drive. Here you see your first snaps for the new starting quarterback, Cam Cruz. He came in late in the game last week against North Hills, helping to send this game into overtime last week against North Hills, as Bob Palco races along the sideline to call a timeout. The refereeing crew for this game consists of the head referee, Larry Kupek. Umpire is Dan Gattuso. Head linesman, Bob Madison. Line judge is Joe Magrino. The side judge is Lee Patton. And the field judge is Brandon Ballard. West Allegheny comes into this game 2-0. Victories over Fox Chapel and North Hills in the past 2 weeks. Chartiers Valley winless in the first 3 games, losing in week 0 to Peters Township 45-14, losing a tight matchup to Hampton 24-10 on its home turf, and taking a bad loss last week to Latrobe 48-26. And really the key there is Chartiers Valley has not been able to hold on to the ball. I talked to head coach Dan Knaus for Chartiers Valley earlier on in the week, and he said that they performed offensively, even though they racked up 453 yards last week. The turnovers made him sick, in his words, and that's something Chartiers Valley would like to correct. Even though right now they're on defense, West Allegheny's driving at the 16-yard line. We have a 2nd down and 8 coming up. Cruz now in the shotgun, getting his first start at quarterback, throws a lob to the corner of the end zone, is caught out of bounds by Isaiah Crow. Pass will be ruled incomplete. Anthony Doyle was on the coverage of Crow, pushing him out of bounds and forcing the throw to go out of bounds, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, Crow stands at 6 feet 6. Haven't seen a lot of it in the first 2 games of the season. Only has 1 catch on the young year. I thought it to be, along with Mateo Vendamia, one of Cam Cruz or Jamie Divins' favorite receiving targets. Cruz had him beat there, but could not stay in bounds.
Cam Cruz throwing his first incompletion of the year. He was 6 for 6 last week in the win versus North Hills, 55 yards in that game, as they'll throw the middle screen to Jake Davis, cuts up the middle of the field, and Chartiers Valley's defense is going to hold him to the 12-yard line. The play is blown dead right there, and it'll cause a 4th down and 4 for West Allegheny.
Yeah, kind of a disappointing drive for West A. Got that great field position. Wanted to punch it into the end zone to get rolling early, but it looks like they're going to go for it.
Interesting call here as Cam Cruz leads his offense out on the field with 2 receivers to each side. Now he tries the hard count. We'll get the play call in from Jim D'Amico and company on the far side of the field. And we got whistles blowing before the snap. Play clock was winding down, and Bob Palco has to burn a timeout in the opening stages of the game. We're at the 5:41 mark of the first quarter in a scoreless tie between the Indians of West Allegheny and the Colts of Chartiers Valley.
Yeah, Bob Palco already having to burn 2 timeouts thus far here on 4th down. Drive started off promising for West Allegheny in CV territory. And this 4th down is big for West A, but especially big for Chartiers Valley. They're at home. They had the home crowd behind them. They had the adrenaline. If they're going to catch West A, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to have to be early in this game. So they can get a stop here on about 4th and medium, 4th and a long free. It would be huge for the flow of the rest of this first quarter.
And Chartiers Valley hasn't started off strong in the first quarter. It'd be huge for their morale if they can get a stop here on this 4th down and 4 if West Allegheny were to go for it on 4th down. Chartiers Valley getting outscored in the first quarter 28-7, while on the other hand, West Allegheny, not that much of a scoring differential, 20-14, and now Colby Stout's going to come on to attempt a field goal. 0 for 1 in the season, missing a 28-yarder last week against North Hills that would have won the game in regulation. Stout's field goal from 28 yards out is good, and West Allegheny on the board first. It's 3-0.
But for Char Valley defensive coordinator Phil Donofrio, it has to be at least somewhat policing for them to have that poor punt, have West Allegheny start deep in Chartiers Valley's territory, and only end up with 3 points. Obviously, every drive you don't want the other team to score any points, but Char Valley able to keep West Allegheny out of that end zone, and now Reed Brueggemann has the ball with the offense with a chance to take the lead early on.
Keep in mind, too, that historically West Allegheny has kind of struggled to keep Chartiers Valley down and out, especially since this senior class were freshmen. Whenever we saw in my senior year, your junior year, Joe, when you had Jake Collins in a quarterback and Chartiers Valley made it a game in 2014, even though West Allegheny would pull away. 2 years ago here at Chartiers Valley, it was a bit tight for most of the second quarter. West Allegheny would go on to win that one, and last year only a 2-touchdown win, so it'll be an interesting game to unravel here at Chartiers Valley. Stout to kick off, Scott and Barrett back deep, and this is a good one that's going to trundle inside the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. Colby Stout's first touchback of the season, and Chartiers Valley will start at the 20. The Colts offense missing their star running back Steve Olsen, who head coach Dan Knaus described as a special player. He had well over 270 all-purpose yards last week in the win versus Latrobe, including 140 yards rushing last week versus the Wildcats. One of the main bright spots for Chartiers Valley, the other one obviously being Reed Brueggemann. Passed for a career-high 234 yards on just 7 completions last week. Chartiers Valley would love to get some of that offense going against this West Allegheny team as they run the triple option for most of the game. Brueggemann hands off, Barrett right side, and he's going to be swallowed up by Bryce Manley and Brent Mangold, amongst others. No gain on the play.
West Allegheny banged up at the defensive tackle position. Logan Rossai injured after the Week 1 game against Fox Chapel. He's going to be out for a while. And Anthony Takas has a mild concussion. Bryce Manley's had to step up. He has a great job snuffing out the run thus far. And Char Valley's offense not getting much going so far.
One of the keys that we didn't really talk about earlier was that for West Allegheny, it's that next man up mentality. Someone goes down, it's the next guy in. And so far up the middle, West Allegheny's done a pretty nice job as Brueggemann flushed out of the pocket, and Brett Mangold gets in on the sack. Brett Mangold's having a whale of a game thus far to begin. Getting in on 3 tackles, 2 for a loss, and including that sack, it's 3rd down and 11.
Yeah, Brett Mangold had a big sack on North Hills QB Will Hurt last week. Also plays tight end, has a receiving touchdown on the season in the tight end position. So Char Valley, again, backed up 3rd and long. And if West Allegheny can force 2 straight 3 and outs, that will make defensive coordinator Brian Cornell a very happy man.
3rd down and 11. Now for West Allegheny. The defensive line flexing its muscles early on against a smaller offensive line of Char Valley. Brueggemann throws a bomb to the right side, and it's going to fall incomplete. The intended receiver on the play was Dylan Ablag, who is being covered being pressured real nicely by Isaiah Crow, and Char Valley goes 3 and out on its second drive. So West Allegheny's defense coming out strong in the opening minutes of the first quarter. Let's see if the offense can get something rolling as Novelli is out the punt for Char Valley. Will Weber standing at about the 45. No pressure brought on Novelli, and this punt is taken by Weber at the 46-yard line. And Weber has some blocks down the left sideline. He's pushed out of bounds on the play by Vaccarello. And West Allegheny will start at the 24.
Again, great field position for West Allegheny. Will Weber really doing an excellent job filling Kenny White's shoes in the return game this year. West Allegheny again has the ball in Char Valley territory, and the goal is going to be, of course, to pound it into the end zone, which they were not able to do on its first possession of the game.
A 23-yard return by Will Weber, who everyone kind of pointed to be the next guy up for West Allegheny, the next superstar to carry this team, and he did so last week against North Hills. And he's had a couple nice runs here today. And here comes another one. Splits the defense to the 10, to the 5, and he's into the end zone. A 23-yard touchdown run by Will Weber, and West Allegheny is up 9-0.
Offensive line coach Ed Marcellus is going to love watching the film of that play. Easy hole to run through for Will Weber. Will Weber not touched on that play. Great job by the offensive line. And West Allegheny is rolling. The goal was to get the ball in the end zone, which they were not able to do on the first possession. They did that right here in no time at all.
Will Weber again with a couple of nice runs. He's already standing out. He was the MVP in the past couple of games, and so far he's well on his way to being the MVP for the third consecutive time as Colby Stout's extra point is up, and it splits the uprights, so it's a 10-0 lead over Chartiers Valley with 3:55 to go in the first quarter. Some other games going on around the Allegheny 9. A non-conference matchup, which is something I'll be paying close attention to, including the Penn Trafford Warriors traveling to the Wolverine to take on the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Woodland Hills struggling early on in the season, losing last week in an upset to Fox Chapel, and also getting dominated in Week 0 by Gateway. Some other games around the Allegheny 9, the Moon Tigers are at the Hampton Talbots, the Baldwin Highlanders, which is the opponent that West Allegheny will see next week at Joe P. DiMcCullough Stadium, traveling to Upper St. Clair, and probably the game of the week in the Allegheny 9, the North Hills Indians traveling to Fox Chapel to take on the the Foxes, excuse me, as Colby Stout will tee it up for West Allegheny. Once again, Barrett and Scott back deep, standing at about the 8-yard line. And Stout's kick taken on the run by Connor Barrett at the 14-yard line. He gets upended as he crosses the 25-yard line. Making the stop on the play was Nick Schell, who's a 2-year player for West Allegheny. Came out last year and now is a starter on special teams. Char Valley starts at the 28.
And this is a huge drive for Chartiers Valley's offense. They did not have a first down yet. We know they can move the ball. They had over 450 yards total against Latrobe last week. So now with Steve Olsen out, it's really up to Reed Brueggemann to lead this team down the field and give West Allegheny something to think about as this first quarter rolls on.
You'll see a mix of John Kyle, Troy Donofrio, and Connor Barrett in the backfield. You see Kyle and Barrett behind Brueggemann. Brueggemann will roll back, and Brett Mangold getting to him again. Another sack for Brett Mangold, his second of the day, and it's only the first quarter.
Mangold just a carnivore on defense thus far. Had a sack last week at North Hills. Doing a fantastic job. West State's defensive line very inexperienced, but Mangold has really stood out so far in the first 3 games of the season.
Offensively, Mangold was a tight end getting moved to the line, and Mangold has really come out to play for the defensive line. He used to go to Peters Township. His sister, JC, went to Keystone Oaks, graduated with me, and then went on to go in the military. And Char Valley has a second down and 21 from the 17-yard line. A toss play to the left side. Barrett being flushed out, and he's hit by Kyle Guilfoyle along the right or the left sideline at the 18-yard line.
Back to the 18-yard line.
That Brian Cornell loves to be aggressive, loves to send those safeties out, whether it be to rush the quarterback or to rush to stop the run. Kyle Guilfoyle has been playing pretty well in his first 2 games as safety, one of these new starters. Does a great job snuffing out the pitch there, and for the 3rd straight possession, it's like Groundhog Day. Chartiers Valley's offense is backed up in a 3rd and long situation.
With West Allegheny banged up, too, you're going to see a lot of new guys in as well. Kyle Guilfoyle starting to get thrusted into starting positions. Paul Fedorka now in at the outside linebacker position, getting his first start as well as Nico Flatty on the right outside linebacker position. Brueggemann passes to the right side, nearly intercepted by Isaiah Crow. The pass was behind Ablag, and Crow had a wide open lane to just walk into the end zone, and he just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, Reed Brueggemann not clicking so far, but Isaiah Crow has looked good at cornerback. We talked about earlier last week he was matched up against North Hill's #1 receiver, Tyler Brennan. Although Brennan had a really good game statistically, he did not beat Isaiah Crow. Crow did a decent job walking him down, and we'll see how he does as the season moves forward and he's getting his feet wet at the starting corner position.
Novelli's punt, sky high, and Will Weber has to call fair catch. West Allegheny with the worst starting field position of the day, but still starting at their own 47-yard line, which is still not bad, especially considering on the last drive it just took 1 play to go 23 yards for Will Weber.
Again, really good field position for this West Allegheny's offense. If it can punch one in here with a field goal and especially a touchdown and go up by 3 scores as this first quarter draws to a close, that would really suck the air out of Char Valley's balloon and make it very difficult for them to make anything in this game.
Defensively for Char Valley on the defensive line, Sean Bannis, James Lang, Hunter Curran, along with Ray Olkowski. At the linebacker position, Zach Thomas, Brett Hicks, Connor Barrett, and Dom Vaccarello. As a jet sweep goes to Tyler Gallant. He is strung out as he gets up the middle of the field, making the stop with Zach Thomas. And the starting secondary for the Colts, Anthony Doyle at corner, alongside Dylan Ablack on the other side. And the starting safeties, Logan Scott and Troy Donofrio. It's 2nd down and 8. West Allegheny just outside of Char Valley territory. Now approaching a minute and a half to play in the first quarter, leading 10-0. Stout in motion as Weber has all kinds of room on that right-hand side, and he is tripped up as he gets to the sticks. Making the stop for Chartiers Valley is Zach Thomas again. And West Allegheny moves the chains down to the 42.
Yeah, good blocking there by number 18, Isaiah Crow, as well as number 22, Colby Stout. Some of those receivers getting in on the blocking. West Allegheny keeps on moving those chains, running the football, as they'll be known to do this season, trying to wear the Char Valley defense down. And again, they're moving the ball in CV territory, looking to put a further dent in the scoreboard.
Brock Downing now comes in at the far left wide receiver position, but this is going to be a wildcat. Dante Flatty, a nice hole on the left side, but nearly stripping it is the linebacker, Dom Vaccarello. Flatty able to hold on as the play is blown dead at the 37.
37-yard line. Pick up a 2nd down and 4.
And so West Allegheny moving the ball again on its 3rd drive to the 37-yard line of Chartiers Valley.
Dom Vaccarello on that last tackle.
A bit banged up with lots of players missing because of injury, but doing a nice job against a struggling Chartiers Valley team as Dante Flatty splits the defense, nearly breaks it as he is finally dragged down by Logan Scott on the left side of the field at the 22. Another 1st down for the Indians.
Dante Flatty this season doing an excellent job of being the number 2 running back behind Will Weber. 18 carries so far coming into this game for 146 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8.1 yards per carry. I talked to Bob Palker yesterday, said West Allegheny loves to get as many people involved in the offense as possible, and Flatty is doing a fine job as that number 2 back.
And he's also a junior, too, so you're going to see him a lot next year as well. As Flatty, right side, Thomas hits him hard as he crosses the 20-yard line, gets to the 18 to bring up a 2nd and 6.
18-yard line. And that will end
And the first quarter will come to a close. West Allegheny dominant on both sides of the ball. Haven't had that real explosive play offensively, despite the 23-yard touchdown run by Will Weber, putting the Indians up 10-0. But defensively, they've been stout as well, with Brett Mangold and company leading the charge. Mangold, 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. An impressive day for the senior defensive end, transferring from the tight end linebacker world. And Chartiers Valley needs to get something going and be able to stop West Allegheny on this drive.
Yeah, really nothing to complain about if you're West Allegheny's coaching staff. Maybe the first possession could have ended a little better with West Allegheny getting that great field position and only ending with a field goal. But aside from that, the defense has been fantastic. You mentioned earlier, especially Brent Mangold. He has been a force on that defensive line. The offense has done well. Will Weber doing his job. Ed Marcellis' offensive line doing a great job at creating some holes. And for Char Valley, nothing really going well thus far.
We're going to be right back here on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Stay tuned as we're going to get back into just a few seconds to start the second quarter. West Allegheny's 5 yards away from pay dirt after a nice 13-yard run by Mateo Van Damie on the shuffle pass. Van Damie broke a half a dozen tackles as Weber spins his way into the end zone and scores again. West Allegheny takes a 3-possession lead in just 28 seconds into the second quarter.
Will Weber again getting a hole from that offensive line. A nice pull there by number 51, Spencer Mason. Will Weber gets in for his second touchdown. West Allegheny's offense, granted, they've had great field position to work with in every possession, but it's doing its job, and the floodgates are starting to open, and Char Valley has to do something about it.
Stout on to attempt the extra point. West Allegheny firing on all cylinders. As the holder, Jake Davis, Stout's kick is low, and it's blocked at the line of scrimmage. And it remains a 16-0 lead for West Allegheny. The snap was good, but it was just blocked on the line. Stout's kick wasn't very high as well, so that didn't help matters. And now West Allegheny leads 16-0. The road ahead for West Allegheny next week, it'll be Scott Falk night at Joe P. DiMcCullough Stadium whenever the Indians host the Baldwin Highlanders. And then in 2 weeks, West Allegheny moves out of the conference, traveling about an hour and a half to the northeast to take on the Kiski Cavaliers, a team that has struggled offensively, but defensively they've been a real nice squad before coming back into the conference for Week 6 in the big one, the game against Upper St. Clair at home. It'll be a raucous atmosphere there. But taking a look at this game, West Allegheny leading 16-0, and the Indians have been dominant on both sides of the ball. Chartiers Valley needs to get something rolling as it'll go on offense. The good news, though, is Chartiers Valley has not turned the ball over yet in this game. We'll see if that will remain true for the rest of the game. As Stout's kick is short and is taken by Barrett at the 12. Barrett is clotheslined there by Paul Fedorka. Combining on the tackle is Kyle Merritt, two stud sophomores that are going to see a lot of playing time as the season progresses. Stops Barrett there, and Chartiers Valley starts from the 22. Chartiers Valley in the first quarter, 9 plays, 3 drives, 3 3-and-outs, negative 11 yards total. So this West Allegheny defense really come out to play. Bryce Manley now switches out. David Pritchett is now in a nose tackle, while Mateo Van Damia will take a seat for Sebastian Ricketts on the right defensive end position. Reed Brueggemann on the keeper, and he tries to run left, but is caught from behind by Brett Mangold again. He has been a machine for West Allegheny's defensive line.
Yeah, Char Valley's offensive line really not having an answer for West Allegheny's defensive front. He got 2 yards on that play, haven't gotten a lot going. You were reading those stats earlier, and for Char Valley to win this game, its offense has to move the ball. It just has to, and that is not happening thus far.
The good news, though, is that was a positive play as Char Valley now at the 24. Brueggemann tries the option to Troy Donofrio. Donofrio to the left-hand side, and he's undercut by Elijah Colliers as he crosses the 25-yard line.
And Brian Cornell's safeties have been doing a good job of snuffing out that pitch. You saw it happen earlier in the game, and now Elijah Colliers makes that stop too, and Char Valley again with 3rd down.
There's a flag down on the far side of the field at the 25-yard line, and the call is going to be a hold against Chartiers Valley. So a nice Troy Donofrio getting some positive yardage, but Chartiers Valley shoots itself in the foot and backs himself up to the 16-yard line. So 2nd and 7 turns into 2nd and 16 from the 16-yard line. Brueggemann had a nice game last week, has not been able to get his offense going in the first about 14 minutes of the game against West Allegheny. Has a handoff. No, it's a keeper by Brueggemann. He's hit hard on the play by Anthony Delavade, one of the captains of this West Allegheny team. And it'll still be 3rd down and about 15 for Char Valley.
Anthony Delavade, younger brother of Armand Delavade, who is currently a starter at Youngstown State under Bo Pelini. The younger Delavade has offers to Duquesne and Youngstown State. You saw wide air. On this possession, you're starting to get a look at Char Valley's option offense that they've run for quite some time. Bob Palka, when he talked to me, talked about how tough it is to contain the option because there's so much to watch, but West State doing a good job of snuffing it out thus far.
Delavade, one of the captains for this team, has been a regular player for the last 3 seasons as Brueggemann drops back, and he throws on the slant pattern, and it's complete to the wide receiver, Connor Barrett. Slips through a couple tackles before finally being brought down by Nate Vislowski, and it is going to be a 1st down for Char Valley.
32-yard line, and a goal. 1st down.
Char Valley finally getting that 1st down. It's been elusive for the whole first quarter plus. West Allegheny missing some tackles there. You see number 54, Anthony Delavade, missed a tackle there. Char Valley has a 1st down, and let's see what they can do with it.
Really the first cracks defensively that West Allegheny has started to show. A couple missed tackles on Connor Barrett, who is one of the better players, and here's Barrett again going up the middle as he's brought down by Nico Flatty and Nate Vislowski at the 35. Barrett, one of the better players for Chartiers Valley, as I was alluding to. A lot of pretty good players in this junior class coming back next year. So I wouldn't say much of a drop-off, but Chartiers Valley is definitely going to improve, or at least not have that much of a drop-off. Really, the only position they need to replace is the quarterback whenever Brueggemann's gone. And even though Steve Olsen's out, they still got some nice options in the backfield with Donofrio and Barrett. Barrett dots the I, but Brueggemann tries the option, fakes it, and fakes out the entire defense of West Allegheny. Runs to the right-hand side. He'll be pushed out by Anthony Delavade, and Chartiers Valley is putting on a nice drive. It's inside of West Allegheny territory for the first time tonight.
Char Valley finally executing that option play. You see here Reed Brueggemann doing a perfect job of selling it. That's why he's one of the better quarterbacks in this Allegheny 9 conference. Bob Palko talked about how tough it is to defend the option, and you're seeing why for plays like that. Some nice holes open at Char Valley's offensive line as well, and finally, Char Valley's offense is getting something going.
A game high for Chartiers Valley, 35-yard gain by Brueggemann on the nice QB keeper, but Barrett goes up the middle, sheds some tackles, and barrels his way forward to the 32. Delavade and Flatty on the tackle, and Chartiers Valley is moving the ball down West Allegheny's throat here in the second quarter. It's down 16-0, and the Colts are trying to climb their way back into this game. Chartiers Valley was held to minus 11 yards in the first quarter, putting on a nice drive here, about 44 yards in this second quarter. Handoff fullback to Hicks. He gets the first down as he's hit by Vislowski at the 28.
Right up the gut again, inside the 30, down to the 28-yard line.
Chartiers Valley does have those bigger running backs that outweigh the West Allegheny defenders, specifically the linebackers, with the exception of Delavade. None of them weigh over 200 pounds, so that could be a significant size advantage for Char Valley. It's 1st and 10 from the 28. Chartiers Valley putting on a nice drive as the handoff goes to the fullback Hicks. He's pushed back by Flatty and Will Weber. Forward progress stopped at the 27 to make it 2nd and 9.
West Allegheny's defense doing a good job of containing Hicks as Char Valley starting to use that fullback. Anthony Delvade's been in on a lot of plays in this possession. West A starting to hopefully disrupt Chartiers Valley's flow, and this is a big 2nd and medium for Char Valley to answer to that play and keep this drive going.
Chartiers Valley looking to crack the scoreboard is down 16-0 to West Allegheny. As the handoff to Barrett powers his way forward, and he is tackled on the play by Nate Vislowski and Anthony Delavade, getting down to the 22 for a 5-yard pickup. It's 3rd down and about 4. Chartiers Valley is, I wouldn't say they're not particularly successful because they're not that far off from West Allegheny. They coming into this game, 9 for 29, that's 31% on 3rd down. And if they do not convert, they are pretty successful on 4th down as well, converting 50% of its conversions on 4th down. As Brueggemann runs into a wall and has nowhere to go. So West Allegheny's defense holds on that series of downs, but now it's decision time for head coach Dan Knaus.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Knaus does decide to go for it here. Char Valley, the underdog, has nothing to lose, already down 16. And it looks like that offense will stay on the field. And this is a huge play for Char Valley to try and make something of this game as the second quarter is almost halfway done.
Pay attention to the left side of your screen. Ray Olkowski goes out at wide receiver, going up against Elijah Colliers. Olkowski 6'5", Colliers 5'9", and Brueggemann looking his way all the way, throws the fade route, and it is caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Chartiers Valley. It's Dylan Ablak on the 22-yard touchdown reception for Chartiers Valley.
Great job on that play by the fullback, number 26, Brett Hicks. Anthony Delvade looked like he might have an opening to possibly get pressure on Reed Brueggemann, but Hicks holds his own. Delvade. Brueggemann makes a great throw to Ablak, completes the play for a touchdown. And finally, a big play for Char Valley, and they are on the scoreboard.
Now on to attempt the extra point, Griffin Beatty. The snap is low, and Chartiers Valley has to make something out of this. The pass is complete on the broken extra point. The pass is complete for the 2-point conversion. Chartiers Valley is now down by 1 possession. Michael Rennie, the backup tight end, with the reception thrown by the holder, Caleb Nelson. It's now 16-8, West Allegheny on top.
We were talking about before this game how, for whatever reason, whenever these two teams play, something wacky seems to happen relating to special teams. Usually it ends in West Allegheny's favor, but that play, Char Valley benefited as there was a bad snap, but the great recovery and 2-point conversion takes place, and things starting to go Char Valley's way all of a sudden. The lead is cut in half.
And a deplenished West Allegheny team hurt with injuries. Rossai out for the majority of the season at the very least. If they're lucky, they'll get him back for the playoffs. That is, if West Allegheny qualifies, even though nothing is set in stone as of yet. Anthony Takis with a mild concussion suffered last week. Noah Ledford banged up with a sprained MCL. And West Allegheny's really hurting with the injury bug. And Chartiers Valley looking to capitalize, is only down by a possession. And this could really be the game changer. Let's see how West Allegheny will respond to the nice drive put on by Chartiers Valley, capped off by the 22-yard touchdown pass from Brueggemann to Ablack. It's a squib kick taken up by one of the up men at the 26-yard line, and he'll get nowhere, getting to the 37. West Allegheny will set up shop from there. That's Kyle Merritt on the kickoff return.
Yeah, West State's offense coming out for the first time after having allowed a touchdown in this game. They have to respond for the first time. They've been in control the whole way so far, except for that last defensive possession in which Char Valley cut the lead in half. Now they have some adversity for the first time tonight, and Mark Davis's offense has to respond to it.
West Allegheny getting some nice field position at the 36. They're in the Wildcat yet again. It's Dante Flatty coming in. Correction, that is Ty Gallant. Stout in motion for West Allegheny. Gallant hauls in the high snap, runs to the right side, and he'll be brought down at the, we'll call it the 43-yard line. It'll be second down and about 3.
Stopped by Anthony Doyle.
Yeah, go on another one of the backups behind Will Weber. Spring time with Dante Flatty. Haven't seen a whole lot of him. That's the first time we've seen him tonight, and a nice start for West Allegheny on its possession.
West Allegheny looking to respond after Chartiers Valley scored. Here comes Flatty up the middle, and he picks up the first down and runs over a Colt as he falls down at about midfield. It'll be first down for West A. Clock now showing 4:43. West Allegheny on top, 16-8. And Will Weber will come in, more than likely a Wildcat play coming up for West Allegheny. They've been able to rush the ball very nicely against Chartiers Valley, only throwing 2 passes on the day. As Weber cuts up the middle of the field. And he's brought down at about the 45-yard line. A saddle rack of Colts makes the stop, led by Connor Barrett, the outside linebacker. It's 2nd and 5.
Bob Palker said when he talked to me Wednesday night, West Allegheny loves to get everybody involved on offense, and you're seeing that here. Gallant, Flatty, and Will Weber have all seen carries on this possession, and it's paying off thus far. West State moving the ball down the field.
West State now inside Char Valley territory. Will Weber back in at the Wildcat formation. Weber cuts to the right side, and he's going to power his way forward and drags about 6 or 7 Colts with him to the 37-yard line. A hard-earned 8 yards and a first down.
That's what Will Weber does so well. He has over half the Chartiers Valley defense almost literally on his back. He's able to push through, get those extra yards, get that first down. And West Allegheny's running backs always seem to have a tendency of going for that extra inch to get as much as they can on the play.
Dante Flatty now in at the Wildcat QB. Vislowski, the fullback, gets a nice block from him as Flatty falls his way forward to the 32. Troy Donofrio makes the stop, the son of defensive coordinator Phil Donofrio. As a matter of fact, Troy's middle name is Phil, named after his father. Phil went to Penn State and was a graduate of Chartiers Valley. Also best friend, very close friends with the Baker brothers, Justin and Michael. Michael out with a serious leg injury he suffered in rugby. Justin now is the starting center at Duquesne University. Flatty up the middle. Has some wide open space on the right side. Gets a block from Downing. And Flatty down to the 13-yard line. It's another first down on the 19-yard keeper by Flatty.
Dante Flatty for the 3rd game in a row, showing that he can be a nice complement to Will Weber. West State always seems to have that second running back. Whether it be Terrence Stevens backing up Chase Dillon, Kenny White backing up Terrence Stevens. Will Weber backing up Kenny White, and now Dante Flatty is playing almost a perfect complement to Will Weber so far early in the season.
West Allegheny now inside the 20-yard line to the 13. This is the fourth trip inside the 20-yard line for West Allegheny. Weber, left side, all kinds of space, and Weber, a trifecta of touchdowns. He gets in from 13 yards out to make it 22-8.
West Allegheny's offensive line is doing its job, especially regarding the receivers. Both Mateo Vandamia and Colby Stout throwing blocks on that play. Almost too easy for Will Weber to run, and once again, he's in for the third time, and West Allegheny answers the Chartiers Valley strike.
Colby Stout on to attempt the extra point. The last time he attempted one, it was blocked at the line of scrimmage. Let's see if he can redeem himself right here. Snap good, hold good, kick up, and the kick is good. West Allegheny on top by 15 points. 23-8 with 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining until halftime. Make sure you stick around at halftime. We'll have the West Allegheny and Chartiers Valley Marching Prides. Char Valley, one of the better marching bands, in my opinion, in the entire WPIAL. You'll see that on full display here on the halftime show. Alongside West Allegheny's, of course, West Allegheny's band. You get to see them every single week. If you can't make it to the games, you can always check them out here on the halftime show on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Brandon Rosside, Joe Smeltzer on the call. From week 3 here at Chartiers Valley, West Allegheny has never lost at Chartiers Valley. The last time the Indians lost was when Wayne Capers was the quarterback of Chartiers Valley, losing 28-24 in 2009, when West Allegheny was led by superstar Mike Caputo, who went on to go to the University of Wisconsin, was a starter there, and is now a coach at LSU, and was also an assistant coach last year at West Allegheny. On to bigger and better things is Mike Caputo. Stouts will kick off, and it's taken by Scott at the 12. Scott has some room on the near sideline as he's bumped out by Logan Scheider. So Char Valley back out on offense. If they can get a score here like it did on the last possession, it'd be huge for their morale with 2 minutes and 6 seconds to play in the first half.
Yeah, and Char Valley, although they are 0-3, they have shown signs of being a good offensive football team. You saw it for the first time in that last possession, and we'll see if Reed Bugerman can lead this offense going forward to another scoring drive.
And 3 offensive linemen, Lang, Verkaman, and Banis all move before Brugman can even call the snap. And a perplexing penalty, putting Chartiers Valley at the 20-yard line. That was one of the more bizarre false starts I've ever seen, as Brugman didn't even get the play call in, and the entire right side of the offensive line moved. And it's 1st and 15. Brugman hands off to correction. He'll keep it, and he's going to be hit hard on the play by Paul Fedorka. Fedorka, one of the sophomores, that'll get a lot of playing time as the season progresses. He's been showing out here at Char Valley. Loses 1 yard. It's 2nd and 16.
Yeah, West Allegheny not fooled on that play at all. Mateo Vandamia going after Brett Hicks, who we thought was going to get the ball, and then Fedorka with the tackle on Brugman. Char Valley's offense is hard to contain. They had some success on that last possession, but for the most part, West Allegheny's defense is doing an excellent job of containing that option.
2nd and 16. Fumble on the play, and it's picked up. Paul Fedorka runs into the end zone for the West Allegheny touchdown. That was Char Valley's first turnover of the day, which is a victory for them, but it was a touchdown for West Allegheny defensively.
Yeah, we talked about in the keys of the game, Chartiers Valley cannot turn the football over, hadn't turned the football over in this first half, but with 1:18 to go, they turn it over. Fedorka has been all over the field on defense and special teams, gets a well-deserved touchdown, and Char Valley's woes continue, and West Allegheny doing what it does best, which is forcing turnovers.
West Allegheny looking to put up 30 points against Chartiers Valley. and they can do so with the extra point attempt. Stout's kick is up, and it is good. And West Allegheny up by 22 points with 78 seconds to play in the first half. West Allegheny putting on a clinic offensively and defensively. As you saw there on the touchdown fumble recovery by Paul Fedorka. The defense bent but didn't break on the touchdown drive by Char Valley, responding by putting up points of their own. And West Allegheny is back to firmly controlling this game as we're very close to halftime.
Yeah, and as this offense takes the field, interesting thing to see will be the quarterback situation. It's been, as we expected, ground and pound most of the night. Bob Palco told me that we should see both Cam Cruz and Jamie Diven out there. So we'll see if Cruz is involved and if we see Jamie Diven either in this first half or throughout the second half as this game progresses.
Stout back on to kickoff for West Allegheny. The most times that he is seen kicking action in the first half alongside with Fox Chapel, as he's kicked off 6 times here in this half as Logan Scott, his knee was down at the 10-yard line, and Char Valley is backed up once again.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Brandon, earlier, West Allegheny taking back control of this game. Looked like Chartiers Valley might have something going, and they got that touchdown in the 2-point conversion. West Allegheny gets that touchdown from Will Weber, gets a defensive touchdown on great recovery by Paul Fedorka. And there's 1:16 to go in this first half. Reed Bergman has a chance to lead Char Valley down and make this a little more interesting going into halftime. But Char Valley's offense so far, not a lot has been going on against this West Allegheny defense, which has done a tremendous job in this first half.
And West Allegheny looking to force another turnover, something that Char Valley has struggled a lot with this season, as Brueggemann throws over the middle and throws to no one. It was in the vicinity of Connor Barrett, but way too far out in front of him to make a play. It's second down. So Chartiers Valley now with 16 turnovers on the year, including the fumble recovery for a touchdown by Paul Fedorka. Game time just 12 seconds ago. Char Valley doing a better job taking care of the football, but it needs to get moving with 1 minute and 11 seconds remaining in the first half. As Brueggemann, under pressure, flushed out. There's a flag down as the pass is complete to Anthony Doyle and picks up first down yardage, but there is a flag 6-yard line. And it is going to be a hold against Chartiers Valley. It'll be a half the distance to the goal, and that puts the Colts at the 3-yard line. So Chartiers Valley, after the holding penalty, is backed up deep in their own territory. Ball will be placed at the 3. West Allegheny would love to get a turnover here, whether it be return for a touchdown or just a turnover in general, putting West Allegheny in prime field position to capitalize and put this game even more so out of reach if it hasn't gotten to that point already.
And Char Valley's backed up deep. Might want to think about a safety possibility because they're backed up deep in its own territory.
The two backs, Hicks and Barrett, standing just inside the end zone. We'll see what Char Valley will do here as the handoff goes to Barrett, and Barrett gets some breathing room and then some as he's ran out of bounds by Will Weber. Clock is rolling even though Barrett was strung out of bounds at the 10, and it'll finally stop with 27 ticks to talk in the first half. So Char Valley has got third down and 10 from the 10-yard line. Chartiers Valley looking to, if they can't convert, at least waste as much time as possible to avoid West Allegheny from running a play, as the handoff goes to the fullback, Brett Hicks, and he's down to the 13. Tackled again by Brett Mangold. He's been quiet on the past couple of drives, but gets in on the tackling again as West Allegheny burns its third and final timeout, but there's 19 seconds showing on the clock as West Allegheny is on top by 22 points against Chartiers Valley.
The West Allegheny defense doing it again. Not a lot to complain about offense or defense in this first half. The defense has done its job aside from Chartiers Valley scoring possession. The offense has moved the ball exceptionally well. And more good news for West Allegheny is it will get the ball to start the second half. There's 19 seconds left. Probably not a lot going to go on before halftime. But we talked about how it's important for West Allegheny to not be complacent, to play like they have something to prove, even though they came into this game as heavy favorites. But West Allegheny doing not everything right because it's almost impossible to play a perfect game, but they're doing a lot of things well here in this first half.
Some scores coming in from our spotter, Mitch Montani, a Waynesburg University student and Chartiers Valley graduate. We have that the Moon Tigers are on top of Hampton 16-7. A very odd score as well. Upper St. Clair, that was in soccer. Penn Trafford is beating Woodland Hills 13-2. No score between Upper St. Clair and Baldwin that is reported as of now. And North Hills on top of Fox Chapel 7-3. Novelli, the punter, standing at his goal line. The clock is now reset to 23 seconds. No pressure being brought by the kick return team. And Novelli, what a beautiful punt. Takes a bounce at the 41, and Kyle Guilfoyle has to do something with it. And he eludes Connor Barrett, but what a nice punt by Armando Novelli. That was a net yard, 46-yard punt. If you did not include the bounce there, that was a beautiful job by Novelli, getting West Allegheny as much room to work with at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, Char Valley losing the field position battle. That's one of the big reasons why the score is what it is. But if West Allegheny can be backed up, I know they're not backed up too deep right now, but if we see more punts like that from the Valley and West Allegheny's backed up, that will give Reed Brueggemann and Char Valley's offense a much better chance to compete in the second half.
So Char Valley will take a timeout with 10 seconds showing on the first half clock. We'll see if Bob Palco decides to run another play with 10 seconds showing on the clock, or just take a knee and take this 22-point lead into halftime. Whenever halftime hits, once again, stick around for West Allegheny and Chartiers Valley marching bands. West Allegheny will go first as the Indians will celebrate Scott Falk Night next week at Joe P. DiMicala Stadium as they host the Baldwin Highlanders, who are over at Upper St. Clair right now. No score reported as of right now, or at least from what we've seen. We'll get some of the scores as well at halftime. Correction now. Upper St. Clair just scored its first touchdown against Baldwin. That game probably close to halftime, just like how this one is 10 seconds away from hitting halftime. Cam Cruz looks like he's going to take a Hail Mary and just see what he does. Cam Cruz back to pass and lobs one deep, and it is caught on the dive by West Allegheny. A nice catch by Will Weber, and the Indians are going to get put 20-yard line. So West Allegheny will hurry up. We'll see if Cam Cruz, he's going to spike it. And the clock now has 1 second showing, and looks like they're going to bring out the field goal unit. Colby Stout will trot onto the field.
Cam Cruz making his first start for this West Allegheny team. Beautiful ball there. He has a good throwing arm. Looks pretty confident in that pocket. And West Allegheny, unexpectedly, is in business to tack on some more before halftime.
Colby Stout on to attempt a 38-yard field goal. It would be a career long for him if he were able to make this, and also be his second made field goal of his 4 years here at West Allegheny. And this is a nice kick. The kick will just go wide left of the uprights, and West Allegheny will have a 22-point lead going into halftime. That kick had the leg, but didn't have the accuracy. It just drifted wide left of the uprights. But really a dominant performance by West Allegheny all around, despite giving up a long drive to Chartiers Valley. Really no mistakes by this West Allegheny team.
Yeah, offense has been excellent. Defense has been phenomenal. One thing to point out is that West Allegheny has had some good fortune. They had excellent field position virtually on every offensive possession, which is a big reason why they were able to score as fast as they did. But West Allegheny's defense has not looked fooled at all by Reed Brueggemann in this triple option. They've been stuffing out the option a lot. Brent Mangold especially doing a fantastic job. Paul Fedorka as well. And Anthony Delavade. The whole defensive line really has stepped up. Charter Valley's offensive line hasn't been able to handle it thus far. And Brian Cornell, still a lot to work on, as there always is. But West Allegheny's defense, very solid performance in the first half.
We hope you enjoyed the halftime show by West Allegheny and Chartiers Valley. Stay tuned on the West Allegheny Sports Network.
Steven Tyler and was debuted in 1973. We will feature horn soloist Abby Leslie as we perform Aerosmith's Dream On. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy our show, School of Rock. list of the 100 greatest rock songs of all time. This song will feature trumpet soloist Morty Swayze, trumpet duet Alex Verhosky and Amy Nolte, and trombone soloist Aaron Berg. Ladies and gentlemen, Stairway to Heaven. We would also like to thank Al Pagini, Lou Video, Steve Grova, Larry Guback, Emily Hogue, Joe Seibel, Elena Smith, Alan Yoder, Miss Megan Hutcho for their dedication to the band. Also, a special shout out to Luke Roberts. Enjoy the second half of the game. With Kanye West, 2010 bracelet, all of the lights. song was nominated for Best Pop Performance by a Group in 2014, selling over 3.2 million copies in the U.S. Jesse J, Ariana Grande, and Nicki Minaj joined forces to create a pop dance classic. Here is Bang Bang. We feature the entire unit in the chart-topping dance hit from her album 1989. Our closing number this evening is Shake It Off. Steve Wilson, Chartiers,
We're back at the start of the second half between West Allegheny and Chartiers Valley. The Indians putting on a clinic in the first half, 30-8, and really with the exception of the gaff in terms of the drive put on by Chartiers Valley, West Allegheny's played almost a flawless game.
Absolutely, as we alluded to before, West Allegheny doing pretty much everything right, especially I'm impressed with the offense, but then again, they have had very good field position throughout the night. But Brian Cornell's defense has really stood out. Char Valley, a decent offensive football team, especially with that option, which Bob Palco told me is so confusing because you have to be watching whether it's going to be a pitch or a quarterback keeper or a dive. So many things to watch. West Allegheny has not been fooled. Brent Mangold in particular, especially in the first quarter, doing a very solid job of containing Char Valley. Char Valley's quarterback, Reed Bergman, hasn't gotten a whole lot done. And aside from one
rushing yards, Chartiers Valley, on the other hand, having 79 total yards, 47 on the ground. And the big stat here is Chartiers Valley is 1 for 7 on third down. Not only is Chartiers Valley not converting those third downs, but they're getting themselves in those situations a lot. Meanwhile, West Allegheny is 1 for 2 on third down. So that's a key statistic, knowing that West Allegheny is moving. The one third down conversion they had was on the long touchdown drive that they had to begin the second quarter.
Absolutely. And what's striking to me is West Allegheny, you alluded to, is 1 for 2 on third down. Them being 1 for 2 on third down isn't surprising, but what stands out about that is that they've only been forced in the third down situations twice in this game, and that's very telling of how the offensive line has done, how Will Weber, Dante Flatty, and Tyler Galland have done running the football. And when West Allegheny's offense gets out to start the third quarter with the ball, it's going to want to run down the field, get a score, and try to put this thing to bed as fast as possible so some of these younger players can get in and get their feet wet and show this coaching staff what they can do.
The scoring summary as it stands before we start the second half. West Allegheny opened up the scoring with a 28-yard field goal by Colby Stouts, making the score 3-0. Then a one-play drive, Will Weber, 23 yards to make it 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. Also at the end of the first quarter, a 7-yard touchdown run by Will Weber, making off by a 22-yard pass attempt from Reed Brueggemann to wide receiver Dylan Ablack. The two-point conversion was good off of the broken play, and West Allegheny would respond with another Will Weber touchdown run, this time from 4 yards out, making the score 23-8. And then Chartiers Valley 2 plays and fumbles on the Reed Brueggemann sack, and Paul Fedorka returns it 15 yards for the score, which made it 30-8, which is where we stand right now. Both teams taking the sideline. Chartiers Valley won the opening coin toss, and since they elected to receive, it'll be West Allegheny opening the second half on offense. And knowing how it was moving the ball against this Colt defense, that could spell trouble for Char Valley.
Yeah, and it's key for West Allegheny to keep its foot on the gas. Played a great first half, very good first half, both sides of the ball. That's wonderful. But coming into this third quarter, one of the keys on West Allegheny was not to get complacent. In its first 2 games, West Allegheny has not been able to win both third quarter begins.
Logan Scott tees it up back deep for West Allegheny. The 2 running backs that have carried most of the load for West Allegheny, Will Weber and Dante Flatty, standing at the 12-yard line. As we're set to start action in the second half, this is a squibber that's going to roll out of bounds, and West Allegheny will start at the 35.
Ball is kicked out of bounds.
Some other scores around the Allegheny 9 Conference. One of the games I mentioned that I was going to be paying close attention to was Woodland Hills and Penn Trafford. The Warriors lead the Wolverines 20-2. A dominant performance by Penn Trafford. Meanwhile, the Upper St. Clair Panthers on top of Baldwin 14-0. In addition, the Moon Tigers on top of Hampton 16-10. And the game of the week inside the conference, the North Hills Indians leads Fox Chapel 14-10 at the half. West Allegheny will start at its own 35-yard line. Will go Wildcat yet again, like it has predominantly throughout the night. This time it's Dante Flatty. Runs left. Has a hole. Nice block from Vislowski. Carries the pile to the 40-yard line, and the play is finally blown dead as he started to go sideways on that play. Troy Donofrio with the initial hit, and pretty much the entire Char Valley defense follows his lead, and West Allegheny will have a 2nd and 5 from the 40. We're here at Chartiers Valley Stadium. Brandon Rossi and Joe Smeltzer on the call for you on the West Allegheny Sports Network, like we will have the coverage for every game on the Sports Network this season. This time, Ty Gallant runs to the left side, and we're going to get a holding call on Brent Mangold. He pretty much tackled Sean Banas behind the line of scrimmage, and West Allegheny will be backed up 10 yards. Mangold's had a nice game defensively, but makes a mistake on offense, and that's not the start West Allegheny was looking for.
West Allegheny has been good about keeping that yellow laundry off the field so far tonight. Mangold being a little too aggressive there on that holding call. And this offense is backed up. They want to move the ball on the field, down the field on this first possession. And West Allegheny can't get complacent. They want to impress his coaching staff as the second half rolls along, even though they're already up by 3 touchdowns.
It's 2nd and 16 for West Allegheny. Now Cam Cruz will come out in the shotgun. He's completed 2 of 3 passes, and he will attempt a 4th pass. It is complete, and taking a big hit is the wide receiver, but he's going to hang on to the ball. Making the hard hit was Anthony Doyle on Tyler Gallant, and Gallant will walk off the side. Doyle cleaned his clock on that play. It's 3rd and 13 from the 32-yard line, but what an effort by Gallant to hold on to the ball, where in most cases that ball probably would come loose.
Yeah, Gallant doing a great job holding on there. This will be West Allegheny's only their 3rd attempt on 3rd down so far today. They've done a great job moving the ball down the field, but for the first time tonight, they're backed up further along.
Cruz again in the shotgun, expect a pass on a 3rd down and long. He takes a 3-step drop and unloads to the right sideline and is well over the head of Isaiah Crow. The cornerback on the play, Anthony Doyle, had a step on Crow the whole way, and West Allegheny goes 3 and out.
Doyle's really playing a good game in the Chartiers Valley secondary. He's one of the bright spots thus far. He's been on Isaiah Crow all night. That's the 2nd time that Cam Cruz has gone to Isaiah Crow. Doyle has locked him down both times, and Char Valley getting what they want, forcing a 3 and out, and this offense will have a chance to take the football and make something of this game.
Colby Stout on to attempt his 2nd punt of the day. He's seen a lot of his action, not only in wide receiver, but kicking the ball off as well, as Stout gets this one away, pressure by Curran. And this ball is going to go dead at the 44-yard line, and Char Valley will take over from there. The road ahead for Chartiers Valley. The Colts have a home game here at Char Valley Stadium against the Woodland Hills Wolverines, who have struggled in the opening moments of the season. If the Wolverines can't come back, they'll start 1-3, which is the worst start that Woodland Hills has had since 2005. The following week, Chartiers Valley will travel to Upper St. Clair in a tough Allegheny 9 matchup, and then will host the Moon Tigers in week 6. 1st and 10, Char Valley at the 44. Brueggemann, screen pass. There's a flag as Barrett is strung up by Will Weber. The penalty came before the snap, and we'll see what the call is. The general indication is that it's on Char Valley, as the linesman Joe Magrino was chatting with Bob Palco, and now head referee Larry Kupek will decide, or will discuss with Palco on what he wants to do. It's a false start, and Palco declines. So Char Valley has a 2nd and 12 from the 42. Char Valley's offense not getting off to a good start, but then again, neither was West Allegheny's offense, so we'll see what the Colts can do here. Their only score came off of a 23-yard pass play from Brueggemann to wide receiver Anthony Doyle. Correction, Dylan Ablack. as Brett Hicks gets nowhere on the play. He maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage as he's brought down by Anthony Delavate and company. And Chartiers Valley will have a 3rd down and 12.
Forcing another 3rd and long. And if you watch West Allegheny football over the years, you notice that its defense is known for having those tackles with, as Brandon likes to say, a tribe of Indians, several defensive players converging on one play. Doesn't matter if one guy's able to stand out, the whole team does its part in bringing a runner down, and that makes West State's defense successful.
Expect a pass play here as there are 2 receivers to each side. The sidecar is the fullback, Brett Hicks. Brueggemann, 5-step drop, under pressure, throws over the head of Ablak, and it's 4th down. Mateo Vandamia came in with a full bit of steam on Brueggemann, forcing the bad pass over the wide receiver's head, Dylan Ablak, who stands at 6 feet tall. And once again, Armando Novelli out to punt for the Colts. Char Valley now 1 for 8 on 3rd down, a statistic that head coach Dan Knaus would like to correct in the coming weeks. Back deep is Will Weber. He had a nice punt return in the first quarter, but Novelli had a beautiful punt towards the end of the first half. And this one is not as good as the one to end the half, but it still will be caught on a fair catch at the 26-yard line. A 32-yard punt by the senior, and it's 1st and 10 West Allegheny.
West Allegheny's offense not getting anything done on its first offensive possession, and as I said when we were coming back from halftime, the offense wants to put some more points on the board. The score looks pretty good as it is, but for West Allegheny's young players, Bob Palco and his coaching staff, they want a chance to get these young guys in the game, get their feet wet as the second half rolls forward, and focus on Baldwin next week.
The most important thing really is to develop the young guys that are getting some of their first varsity playing time, including Cam Cruz, who's not in right now, but it'll be very important to develop him as the season goes on. Dante Flatty, right side. Nice block from Vandamia. Turns on the Jets and is caught from behind by Anthony Doyle. It's a nice gain by Dante Flatty down to the 48-yard line of 21 yards. 1st down coming up.
Yeah, the blocking of West Allegheny's receivers and tight ends really has been impressive tonight. You see there, Vandamia, as you said, getting a great block. Flatty with some room to run, and West Allegheny is in business, looking to get a score and move further into putting this game to bed.
Flatty remains in the Wildcat QB position. Vizlowski to his left. Flatty tries to make something out of nothing, and he's spun down by Troy Donofrio right at midfield, and it's 2nd and 8. Dante Flatty, the older brother of Nico Flatty. Both coming in Dante's freshman year. Nico Flatty, a standout in his younger days. Dante Flatty was hit by the injury bug last year, was expected to have a lot of playing time last season, but was out until the PIAA quarterfinal game against Meadville. But at that point, West Allegheny had already found its identity. And here comes Cam Cruz in at quarterback. Cruz rolls to his right and completes the pass to the wide receiver. That's Jake Davis, and it's another 1st down for West Allegheny.
Yeah, Char Valley's defensive backfield is really bringing the punishment, even though they're down by 3 touchdowns in the second half. You saw Gallant took a big hit earlier, and Jake Davis takes one here. And the important thing for West Allegheny is the receivers held onto the ball both times, not letting that punishment get into the way of making the catch.
This is the second big hit in the second half that the Char Valley cornerbacks have delivered the blow on the West A receivers, and the second time that they've held onto the ball. So good job by the receiving corps. Flatty gets nowhere. As coming up is Zach Thomas from his linebacker position. It's 2nd down and 9 from the 40. Zach Thomas, the linebacker. His brother is Matt Thomas, who was a part of the first section title in cross country in Chartiers Valley history. He's now a student over at John Carroll University. It's 2nd and 9 from the 40. Cam Cruz now gets the play in, leads his offense back out on the field. He's in the shotgun. Cam Cruz, one of the better quarterback recruits in the class of 2020. As he'll roll out, nice fake there, and he completes the pass on the play to Ian McBain down to the 25-yard. It's another first down for West Allegheny.
Ian McBain, son of West Allegheny Athletic Director Dave McBain, making some big yardage there. And West Allegheny offensive coordinator Mark Davis utilizing that rollout play pretty well in this possession. The Indians moving the ball down the field in the second half, and it's on its way to getting that score and virtually putting this game to bed.
If West Allegheny can score here and get a 2-point conversion, then it would invoke the mercy rule. 30 points is the running clock rule in high school football. Cruz on the curl route to Isaiah Crowe, slips a tackle and uses his 6'6" frame to fight his way forward to the 13-yard first down coming up.
Cam Cruz is really firing some bullets on this possession. You see Isaiah Crowe there, makes his first catch. Haven't seen a lot of him this season. Some toughness for Crowe, using that 6'6" frame to really bully the Charter Valley defense and getting those extra yards. West Allegheny is rolling, and Cam Cruz is looking pretty good.
And if you're head coach Bob Palka, that's something you like to see after losing a standout talent like Nick Ross, who had the single best passing season in West Allegheny history, 2,464 yards in his senior season last year. Some were expecting a drop-off, but West Allegheny's offense is progressing nicely, but a gaff thrown by Cam Cruz as it's underthrown to Crowe, nearly picked off by Dylan Ablack. 2nd and 10. Cam Cruz will remain in the game. He's getting the call in from Jim D'Amico on the far side of the field. Cam Cruz came in late in the fourth quarter against North Hills and helped lead the team to the comeback. His father, Kirk, was a United States Marine. And Cam definitely interested in some of the Navy Army teams as well. As he drops back, throws the swing pass. Dante Flatty right side. But he's swarmed under by Chartiers Valley. That's Dom Vaccarello and Connor Barrett, getting the tackle in the backfield. West Allegheny pushed back to the 16. 3rd down.
Charter Valley's defense really continuing to bring that intensity. They're down big late, down by 3 touchdowns late in the 3rd quarter, but they're not giving up. They're running. They're having 2 really hard hits in this 3rd quarter, as we saw earlier. Jake Davis tries to get a block there, isn't able to manage it. Dante Flatty can't get any room, and it's a 3rd and long for West Allegheny.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Cruz will drop back and throws medium to the wide receiver who overthrows him. Jake Davis was the intended receiver. And now it's decision time for Bob Palka. West Allegheny leads by 22 points with 4:14 to play in the 3rd quarter, and Colby Stout on to attempt his 3rd field goal. He's already made 1 early on in the game. Missed a 38-yarder to close the half, and now Colby Stout will attempt a 32-yard field goal from the right hash. Colby Stout wearing number 22, which has been a mainstay at the kicker position for the last several years. Worn by Evan Pelcher, DJ Upsatnik, and now Valley. So now this 32-yard field goal attempt became a 27-yarder. Now, whenever you're trying to replace a kicker with the caliber of DJ Upsatnik, you can't really replace him. You can only just hope to live up to the name. DJ was one of the more impressive kickers in state history. Had the state record in field goals with 36 in his career. And Colby Stout's done an admirable job filling the shoes of DJ Upsatnik, the huge shoes left over by the senior who went to Alderson Broadus, as this field goal is up and is good. And the 27-yard field goal by Colby Stout makes it a 33-8 game. West Allegheny on top.
Mentioned Colby replacing one of the most consistent kickers in the history of the state of Pennsylvania, DJ Upsatnik. Stout's had his struggles thus far. He missed an extra point earlier. He missed a game-winning field goal attempt last week at the end of regulation against North Hills. But Stout, he's wanted to be a kicker forever. I've known him since back when he was in grade school. He's always wanted to kick. His brother Connor played soccer, now on the football team, could possibly succeed Colby. But Stout, very good kick there, right through the uprights, and I think he's going to continue to improve as this season goes on. And as you said, can't really replace DJ Upsadnik, but he's going to do what he can.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a kicker like DJ Upsadnik, as I said, you can't really replace him. You just hope to pick up where he left off and do a serviceable job, which is something that Stout has been able to do. He's now 2 for 4 in his field goals this year. Didn't attempt a field goal his sophomore year when he filled in for DJ whenever he was out with an injury, but was perfect in all of his extra point attempts, as this is a knuckler down to the 8-yard line, taken on the run by Logan Scott. And Scott swarmed under on the play. Kyle Merritt, having a really nice day on special teams, makes the stop inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, the way Kyle Merritt ran there, you wouldn't know that the score is 33-8 in favor of West Allegheny. West Allegheny playing it really full throttle on all sides of the ball, especially on special teams. The kickoff coverage today has been outstanding. Charter Valley's return team not getting a lot going, and great play by Kyle Merritt, and guys like him and Paul Fedorka really stand out on the special teams kick coverage.
Chartiers Valley trots out on the field, starting from its own 16-yard line. The good news is they haven't turned the ball over much. The bad news is the one turnover that it had, it was a fumble return for a touchdown. And a situation similar to this, but Brueggemann steps back, looks to the right side, complete to Ablack, and he's going to be spun down by Colby Stout as he crosses the 30. It's a first down coming up for Chartiers Valley. And the Colts off to a good start on this drive.
Brueggemann finally getting some production there and finds him for a first down, and Charter Valley see if they can move the ball and get into the double digits in scoring.
Brueggemann's a really talented quarterback. He leads the Allegheny 9 in passing yards. Coming into this game, he had 794, but you wouldn't know it because of the stout defense that West Allegheny has been playing, as you would see right there. Connor Barrett hit by Anthony Delevate and company. Gets nowhere on the play. It's 2nd and 10. But Brueggemann, as I said, leading the Allegheny 9 in passing yards, has tossed 6 touchdowns on 4 interceptions. And after today, he's going to have, at this point, around 850 passing yards. Possibly will hit the 900-yard plateau at the end of the game if things go his way. But if West Allegheny has its way, that's not going to happen. Brueggemann steps back, pressure from the right side, and it's caught over the middle. Dylan Ablack to the 30, to the 20, and he breaks away from Colby Stout, and Chartiers Valley scores yet again on another long touchdown pass from Reed Brueggemann to Dylan Ablack.
Talking about how Reed Brueggemann leads this Allegheny 9 conference in passing. You see why right there. Brueggemann to Ablack connection works again. Ablack beats Colby Stout on that play. Great protection. Beautiful ball, really, from Reed Brueggemann. Chartiers Valley, they're not giving up. They scored 33-14 now, and they're trying to get it to within a respectable scoreline here. A great throw by Reed Brueggemann.
Ties a season high for both Brueggemann and Ablack. They hooked up on a 69-yarder last week against Latrobe. And here tonight they have another 69-yard completion going for a touchdown, and Chartiers Valley is going to go for 2. And a timeout is going to be taken by Bob Palco, the first of the second half. But a gutsy call by Dan Canals, but at this point, why not? You're playing one of the best teams in all of Class 5A, and you have nothing to lose at this point.
Absolutely. They had nothing to lose coming in, really. Not expected to win this game, going up against not really one of the top programs in the Whitfield currently, but among the most respected in the Whitfield in general. Bob Palco, legend in this area, has coached West Allegheny since 1995. They've been respected for a long time, and Coach Canals trying to compete here, going for two. It worked the last time, and let's see if it works now.
Chartiers Valley already converted a 2-point conversion on a broken extra point. As the pass from Chartiers Valley's holder, Caleb Nelson, was complete to Rennie, but the offense stays out on the field for the 2-pointer. Toss to Barrett, and Barrett will look to pass. Throw back to Brueggemann. He's wide open, and it's just out of Brueggemann's reach. Pass falls incomplete, and it remains a 19-point lead for West Allegheny.
Yeah, some trickeration there by Chartiers Valley. Play got out there a good start. Brueggemann had the chance to make the catch, but not a great throw from Barrett. He is not a quarterback. Brueggemann unable to hold that in. And Char Valley does get 6 points, but they would have liked, obviously, to complete that 2-point conversion as well.
And if Barrett were able to connect with Brueggemann on that pass play, that more than likely would have made it a 17-point ball game because there was no one around Brueggemann there. Crow came up to put the pressure on Brueggemann, but the pass was already too high. And I think if Brueggemann caught that pass, there at least would have been a fight into the end zone, and we could be talking about a 17-point game here.
Yeah, but in any case, I like the play call from Char Valley. They're down 19 and still using that trickeration, trying to get back into this football game. I like what Coach Canals is doing. Char Valley, they had fight on defense, holding West Allegheny to a field goal, and their offense, it's not giving up. And I applaud the effort that Char Valley has displayed so far in the second half.
Dan Canals, first-year head coach at Chartiers Valley, replacing Neil Lobig, who resigned after 3 seasons. A graduate of Westminster, actually played college ball with one of West Allegheny's own, Andy Berry, who's in the Westminster Hall of Fame. But this is going to be picked up by Kyle Guilfoyle, and he's going to race down to the 40-yard line where he's brought down by Connor, who's number 40 on Char Valley's team. Correction, that's Dom Vaccarello. But nonetheless, West Allegheny starts from the 42. But as I was saying about head coach Dan Canals, played at Westminster. Andy Berry graduated from Westminster when Canals was a freshman. And he's coached at a number of schools, including the offensive and defensive line at Central High School in Virginia, along with Whitfield schools like Chartiers Houston, Keystone Oaks, Cornell, and was actually the defensive coordinator at Montour for the past 2 seasons. Dante Flatty gets nowhere as he tries to dance his way up the middle. Initially hit by Brett Hicks and Michael Rennie. It's a gain of 1 on the keeper. We alluded to earlier in the broadcast that one of the keys for West Allegheny is to not get complacent, and things aren't looking good right now for West Allegheny as they struggled in the third quarter in the past 2 games against Fox Chapel and against North Hills, and that trend's continuing right now. Char Valley outplaying West Allegheny in the third quarter right now.
Yeah, West Allegheny has yet to put 2 good halves of football together, and that trend is looking to continue so far in this game.
Flatty off the right side has some space, and he is going to be undercut as he crosses the 45-yard line. Logan Scott making the stop, and West Allegheny picks up 16 by Dante Flatty. Now down to a minute 41 to play in the third quarter. West Allegheny's lead is 19 after leading by as many as 25. Char Valley getting 2 touchdown passes from Brueggemann to wide receiver Dylan Ablack. West Allegheny a trifecta of touchdowns by Will Weber, 2 field goals by Colby Stout, and the fumble return for a touchdown by Paul Fedorka. Flatty slips through a tackle down to the 25-yard line, and he's hit from behind by Zach Thomas, and West Allegheny is trundling down the field.
Yeah, this is a good start for West Allegheny, as we alluded to earlier. They've yet to put a solid 2 halves of football together this season. They're down 7-3 so far in this second half, still up 33-14 on the scoreboard. Dante Flatty, 2 solid runs there, and let's see if they keep riding the hot hand to keep running this football.
So West Allegheny just outside of the 20-yard line as Flatty gets inside the 20 as He's tripped up. Hunter Curran makes the stop. Things are starting to get chippy down on the field. Brett Mangold and Michael Rennie fighting at it right now as Flatty gets down to the 19. Now under 30, well, at 30 seconds left, I should say. West Allegheny looking to punch it in as we transition to the fourth quarter. More than likely after this play, unless West Allegheny converts a first down on this 2nd and 5. This time Ty Gallant in at the Wildcat QB. Runs to the left. Has all sorts of blockers. And he is going to be brought down at the 9-yard line. Sean Bannis, the initial hit alongside Connor Barrett. And West Allegheny will have first and goal from the 9-yard line when we begin quarter number 4. West Allegheny getting outplayed as a whole in the third period, but a nice drive being put together by this Indian team.
Yeah, Brandon, when I talked to Bob Palker earlier this week, he mentioned how early in the season, in past years, it's hard to tell what West Allegheny has. They're not a team that's known to get off to a fast start early. He mentioned the last season, for the first 5 weeks, really, up until they played Upper St. Clair week 6, they were winning games, but they weren't particularly playing great football. And in the first half, you saw what West Allegheny could be. They were fantastic, really, in all aspects. Things starting to slow down as West Allegheny lost that third quarter 7-3. But it's week 3, and West Allegheny will want to get better in the fourth quarter. And as this game ends, going into next week.
We'll be right back on the West Allegheny Sports Network. First and goal, West Allegheny, as we begin quarter number 4. The ball at the 9-yard line. Dante Flatty's been carrying the load on this drive. And we'll see if the Indians can punch it in. Flatty off the right side. Runs over Donofrio. Gets down to the 2-yard line. And West A is in prime position to punch it in.
Yeah, the blocking of Ian McBain has really been impressive as he's been getting in this second half, but Flatty continues to run the football well, getting those holes to run and use his speed by this offensive line. West A looks to finally answer and looks to punch the ball into the end zone for the first time in this second half, and it's largely because of that offensive line.
Flatty stays out. We'll see if he can get his first score of the day. He comes into tonight's game with 4 touchdowns on the year, 2 in the games versus Fox Chapel and North Hills, and he'll pick up the 5th touchdown of the season. He runs it in from a yard out. A nice hole being opened up by the left guard, Seth Rosen, and West Allegheny a point away from scoring 40.
Seth Rosen, another young offensive lineman, doing his job, making that block, and it feels like every one of West A's rushing touchdowns, there hasn't been a whole lot to it. There's been great blocking, easy work for the running backs, whether it be Will Weber or Dante Flatty. So West A answers, gets on the board, and now is leading the second half, looking to go up 10-7 since the third quarter was started.
So West Allegheny starting to put the pedal to the metal, scoring on the 1-yard touchdown run by Dante Flatty. Stout's kick is good. And we now stand at 40-14, West Allegheny on top of the hometown Chartiers Valley Colts. And one score that's very interesting in the Allegheny 9 Conference, the Upper St. Clair Panthers lead Baldwin only by a score of 14-6. We are expecting Upper St. Clair to be one of the top teams in the Allegheny 9 Conference. Baldwin, an extremely young team, starting mainly sophomores, and Upper St. Clair just can't put Baldwin away, which is a tad bit interesting.
Yeah, and we knew Upper St. Clair's offense might struggle a little bit. It's known primarily as a defensive football team. But up 14-6 on Baldwin is not something that Jim Render wants to see at all. And Upper St. Clair, along with West Allegheny, favorites to win this Allegheny 9 conference, and they're going to have to crank it up against Baldwin, or Coach Render's not going to be very happy after this game.
5A is probably the most wide open field.
I agree.
The favorites in the Allegheny 9 conference, you would say, are probably West Allegheny and Upper St. Clair, but most of the favorites in general in 5A come from the Big East Conference. In McKeesport, you have Gateway, which McKeesport was leading Connellsville at the half 54-0, as Donofrio is hit hard by Isaac Longstreth. Ball comes rolled down at the 25-yard line. So Char Valley will start from the 25, trailing by 26 points, but isn't going down without a fight against Bob Palco. Dan Knaus was talking about how his team needs to compete, and he's got to be very happy that Char Valley, they could have came out and just rolled over to a team like West Allegheny, but they certainly haven't done that at all.
Yeah, when you're playing a game where you're the heavy underdogs like Char Valley is tonight, effort is a key thing. How much are you going to fight when you get down early? And Char Valley is showing that fight in the second half, and I commend them for that.
Now switching in left tackle is Jaden Davis, the sophomore, as Char Valley will take a timeout. We have mainly seen Doug Krause starting at left tackle, but now Jaden Davis getting in on the action. But the timeout's taken by Dan Knaus. But some of the other scores around the Allegheny 9, as we said, Upper St. Clair leading the Baldwin Highlanders 14-6. The score is still Penn Trafford on top of Woodland Hills 20-2. As we speak, we haven't had an update so much from there, but also the score is still 14-10 North Hills on top of Fox Chapel, and the Moon Tigers have opened up a 23-10 lead over the Hampton Talbots. Correction, now Penn Trafford scores again, making the score 27-2 against Woodland Hills. Now, Penn Trafford's probably the biggest sleeper team in the entire WPIAL. They're returning a lot of starters, including Cam LaFoon, Logan Hawkins, a D1-bound defensive lineman, and Brueggemann escapes the pressure, but he will be caught on the play. A sack for Rosen, but a late flag will come in. We'll wait to see what the call is from head referee Larry Kupek, as mainly the reserves are coming in for West Allegheny. David Pritchett in at nose tackle. Seth Rosen, who had the sack at defensive end, along with Vinny Staub, who is the younger brother of our very own Nick Staub, who is going to be graduating here in the spring. But the flag was on West Allegheny. It'll be a 1st and 6 for Char Valley. Brueggemann calling out signals to his wide receivers, looking to get the play off. As Brueggemann fakes, backs up, now eludes the pressure, running right. And it's complete on the right sideline for another first down for Chartiers Valley. Reception is Anthony Doyle. And the Colts are moving the ball nicely, especially through the air.
Yeah, Ray Bergman doing a good job. He's under pressure that play. Doesn't get rattled. I really like the ball that Bergman throws. Makes a great pass to Doyle for a first down. And Char Valley, Ray Bergman is showing great senior leadership. They're down 40-14, but you wouldn't know it by the way he's playing.
Especially considering that one of their team leaders, Steve Alzen, went down with a broken arm that was suffered 2 years ago, but injuries pretty much came back, and Steve Alzen in a cast that was put on today, as a matter of fact. But a flag comes down. Brueggemann throws the screen pass to Connor Barrett as he gets flipped down by Logan Scheider. The pre-snap penalty, the indication is that it's an illegal procedure on Char Valley, which it is, backing the Colts up to the 43-yard line. 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Char Valley trailing West Allegheny 40-14, but the Colts are putting up a fight, and I commend Dan Canals and his staff in competing with one of the better teams historically in the WPIAL.
Not a whole lot you can ask for, especially with the unfortunate loss of Steve Olson. Char Valley has moved the ball a lot better than they were in the first half, and as we keep alluding to, the Char Valley team, it has not quit, and that's what you want to see as a young coach.
Olson is out after some screws from a previous injury in his arm were bothering him, and he went into the doctor today and got it fixed up. But Brueggemann throws a bomb, and it's caught, but it's out of bounds to Anthony Doyle, who again had a step on Isaiah Crow. Doyle has had Isaiah Crow's number throughout the game, whether it be covering him whenever Crow is on offense or whenever Crow is on defense. Doyle just seems to be able to get that extra step on Crow. But with 9:33 to play, Char Valley is faced with a 2nd down and 15. The Colts have a really tough schedule coming up, hosting Woodland Hills next week and then traveling to Upper St. Clair the week after. While West Allegheny, not as tough, hosting Baldwin next week, who is in rebuilding mode after starting several sophomores, and then going out of the conference to face Kiski in 2 weeks. But Hicks picks up a bunch on that play, 7 yards to the 50-yard line.
In the first 5 weeks, just like last season, leading up to that big game against Upper St. Clair, Week 6, which, if all things go according to plan, that will end up deciding who wins this Allegheny 9 conference.
This is a crucial 3-week period for Bob Palco's team, really to find their identity. It'd be crucial if the Indians can find that before that Upper St. Clair game, if they don't find it as that game goes on, as Brueggemann is sacked. Kyle Merritt will be charged with the sack, even though Brueggemann technically fell down on his own. But it's 3rd down and 12 from the 46.
Kyle Merritt, one of those young players that in games like this, the young players get a chance to show Bob Palco, Brian Cordell, and his coaching staff what they can do. And guys, whether it be Ian McBain, Kyle Merritt, Paul Fedorka, these guys are stepping up, and the hustle is there and the intensity is there, even in a lopsided game.
It's now 4th down, but expect a pass here on this 4th down and long. Pay attention to Doyle versus Crow on the top of your screen, but this time it's a pass over the middle, caught by Barrett, and it is a 1st down to the 40-yard line. Barrett went completely uncovered as the ball was underthrown, which could have given Barrett some extra yardage, but luckily for Char Valley, it is a 1st down regardless. Barrett now alone in the backfield as Brueggemann steps under center. 2 receivers to each side as the running game's been struggling. Brueggemann's, I don't want to say he's been on point, but he's definitely made a contribution through the air as he is doing right now with his legs. Runs to the right side and picks up another 1st down to the 29. Char Valley, another nice drive being put on, and the West Allegheny second half woes continue.
Yeah, West Allegheny's defense not doing a very good job. The offense did answer, making it 40-14, but Char Valley responding nicely here. And West Allegheny, as we alluded to, it cannot get complacent in this second half, but that might be going on a little bit with this defense.
Reed Brueggemann already has 2 touchdown passes to wide receiver Dylan Ablack, one going for 23 yards, the other 69 yards. The longest pass play given up by West Allegheny this season as Brueggemann throws to the left side and it's complete to Doyle, gets the foot in bounds as he had a step on Colliers, and Char Valley now inside the 10-yard line.
Anthony Doyle playing a solid game on both sides of the ball, and another great throw by Ray Brueggemann. Ray Brueggemann showing why, in spite of what the score is, why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Allegheny 9.
Now Brueggemann's pushing on 1,000 yards on the season, and we're only in week 3. Really impressive numbers being put up by the senior, who hasn't had the easiest road to his senior season. I'll get to that in just a minute. But Brueggemann in the shotgun, but he'll hand off to Hicks. Wide open hole, and Hicks rumbles into the end zone. Touchdown, Char Valley.
Yeah, Char Valley's offensive line was really getting manhandled by this West Allegheny defense in the first half. Not the case in the second half. The protection has been good for Reed Brueggemann. The holes have been big to run through for Char Valley's running game, as you saw there with Brett Hicks. And all of a sudden, Char Valley, it is not going away. And it might be a little too late to form a comeback, but Char Valley is at least moving this game towards respectability.
Griffin Beatty on to attempt the extra point. Caleb Nelson, the holder. Brett Hicks, who scored the touchdown, as the long snapper. And all three phases are good, including the extra point. And it's now a 19-point ball game. West Allegheny on top, 40-21. As I was saying earlier, Reed Brueggemann, the senior captain here at Chartiers Valley. As we take a look at the Allegheny 9 standings, West Allegheny, Hampton, and Upper St. Clair all in a three-way tie for first place at 2-0. Fox Chapel and Woodland Hills at 1-1, but Fox Chapel has the lead over the Wolverines after the 1-point victory over Woodland Hills last week, while Char Valley and Moon are winless in their first conference game, and North Hills and Baldwin looking for the first conference win out of 2 games. But Reed Brueggemann, his father, unfortunately passed away after a long battle with cancer the first day of the scrimmages this season, and Brueggemann could have decided not to play, but instead he went out on the field, played, and was named the captain for Chartiers Valley. And really, Coach Knaus commended his efforts, and really, he said that he's a special player and that this experience has helped him out not only as a football player but as a leader as well. As an onside kick is taken by West Allegheny, where it's fallen on by an up man at the 38.
Char Valley trying to go with that onside kick. Not really surprising. They wanted to get the ball back and get Reed Brueggemann in this offense, which is on a roll, back onto the field to make things a little interesting, but it doesn't work out. Easy recovery for West Allegheny, and now its offense is back on the field.
First and 10, West Allegheny. Ball now at the 38-yard line. Now in a quarterback is Jamie Diven. He hands off to the running back, going to the left side, and picking up about 4 yards is Kyle Merritt. Second down and 6 coming up for West Allegheny. Jamie Diven originally winning the starting job over Cam Cruz. And after Cruz came in and helped West Allegheny come back from the dead, essentially, Cruz was awarded the starting job. And really, it's been a close QB matchup between Diven and Cruz. Talking to Palco earlier on in the week, he really said that both quarterbacks have a chance to start and lead this team, as Diven throws the screen pass to Brock Downing, and he picks up the first down.
Yeah, one thing that Bob Palco likes about having these 2 quarterback options is the difference in the 2. Cam Cruz, a little more mobile. He has the ability to run. He has the ability to make that throw on the rollout. Diven, more of a traditional pocket passer. He has a great arm. Worked very, very hard this summer to improve his skills and eventually win the starting job at the outset. But this QB race has not been decided yet. Coach Bob Palco was adamant about that when I talked to him this week. And both of these guys look to be assets to West Allegheny's football team.
They both have their pros and cons, but Diven by far is the most improved player on this West Allegheny team after going to all of the camps at Evolve, which have helped a lot of his mechanics. Getting more accurate, getting the ball into his receiver's hands, and especially helping the deep ball. Diven's always had a nice deep ball, but now it's become more on point with his training at Evolve. But the pass there falls incomplete. Second and 10. Jamie Diven, the youngest brother of several of the Divens, a mainstay here at West Allegheny. 2 of his brothers right now currently play college ball, including Jordan Diven, who's a defensive lineman at IUP, and Joey Diven, who just graduated last year from West Allegheny. He's a freshman receiver at John Carroll. Merritt up the middle, and he finally falls forward to the 41-yard line. So he'll pick up 5, a 2nd and 5 coming up. Make that 3rd and 5.
Second down and 5.
West Allegheny more than likely will improve its overall record to 3-0 and 3-0 in the conference as well, as it heads home for a home match against Baldwin, who is playing Upper St. Clair pretty tough. Last we checked, it was 14-6. Panthers on top, which is a bit of a surprise considering last year that was a 43-3 game. Diven rolls to the left, throws, and it's complete to Jake Davis, and Davis sheds some tackles. Now going towards the middle of the field. Finally brought down Anthony Doyle with the tackle at the 19-yard line.
Jake Davis, son of offensive coordinator Mark Davis, moved to receiver. Originally was a backup quarterback. Played some quarterback for the junior varsity team. Led West Allegheny's JV team to a win over Woodwood Hills in 2015. But Davis used as the receiver this season. Shows his speed there, makes a nice catch, and West Allegheny is in business.
West Allegheny making its 5th trip inside the 20-yard line. Really having its way in terms of offensively driving down the field, as here's Merritt up the middle. He's hit by Zane Snyder, and a saddle rack of Colts swarm in on the tackle. 2nd and 9 coming up for West Allegheny. The reserves mostly in. Jamie Diven trotting out on the field to get the play call. And really having that quarterback situation is if one of these guys go down, it's not like there's a drop-off at quarterback, because both of these guys are very capable of leading this team possibly to championships. So it'll be interesting to see how this QB situation evolves in the coming weeks as Kyle Merritt bounces to the outside and he trots into the end zone. An 18-yard run. Kyle Merritt scores his first varsity touchdown. And West Allegheny putting the icing on the cake.
That is a well-deserved first varsity touchdown. Kyle Merritt, we have called his name a lot on all 3 sides of the ball, which is rare for a reserve player, but Merritt getting the blocking from the offensive line, running through there, and that is a well-deserved touchdown to put this game really in the grave.
Now seeing his first varsity action at kicker John McCardle will come in to attempt the extra points out of the hold of West Allegheny's John Rink. The kick is up and it's good. West Allegheny now takes a 47-21 lead with 4:08 to play in the game.
Great job by Jamie Diven engineering that drive and Kyle Merritt for finishing it off. But as we continue to talk about the quarterback situation, one luxury that Bob Palco has is both of these guys will be back next season. And for Cam Cruz especially, Cruz is only a sophomore. He'll be here for 2 more years. But with the work ethic that Jamie Diven has, especially this summer, attending a lot of those camps, and with Cam Cruz's upside and his youth, West Allegheny, the future at the quarterback position is looking pretty bright for 2017 and beyond.
Absolutely, and you know, Cruz is in prime position to get the starting quarterback job, but for Jamie Diven, he's got to battle for this QB position because Cruz is for sure going to, or at least almost certainly going to start at least one of his years. You know, his senior year, Diven won't be here, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the evolution of Cruz, but also the evolution of Diven as well, as he's going to have to battle for his final 2 years here. McCardle onside kick, and it's fallen on by an up man at the 34-yard line. Char Valley takes over from there. Don't forget, next week is Scott Falk night at West Allegheny High School. The Indians commemorating the life of Scott Falk, the father of Nick Falk, who unfortunately passed away over the summer. We'll be having fundraisers and some sales going on all game next week as the Indians welcome the Baldwin Highlanders. A game on paper in which West Allegheny should win, but knowing that Baldwin is taking it to Upper St. Clair, you know, that game becomes a little more interesting now. Brueggemann rolls to his right, unloads to the right side, and it's caught. Logan Scott breaks away and finally brought down at the 16-yard line. Brueggemann now over 1,000 yards in the first 4 games of his senior season.
Yeah, and Brian Cornell is going to have a lot to say in that film meeting room tomorrow morning. West Allegheny's defense really getting shredded by Reed Brueggemann in the second half. It's similar to what Nick Gizzo did against Fox Chapel in week 1.
Char Valley inside the 20 now to the 16-yard line. Brueggemann has been tearing up West Allegheny's defense, which I don't want to say is expected, but with the numbers Brueggemann's putting up, including this 16-yard touchdown run by the quarterback, Reed Brueggemann, it's not expected, but it's surprising as well.
Yeah, and you're seeing why Reed Brueggemann is a special player to this coaching staff. He hasn't been quitting. This game has been virtually decided for a while now, but he is leading his troops down the field, playing like it's 0-0 and running that late fourth quarter drill. Brueggemann showing the heart of a champion, really, and no matter what the scoreboard says, he is a winner, and he is playing hard tonight and showing leadership as the senior captain.
2-point conversion on the way for Chartiers Valley. Already 1 for 2 on these conversion attempts. One of them happened on accident. We'll see if they can convert the first time on purpose. And they will. Reed Brueggemann to Logan Scott. Correction, that's Connor Barrett. Jumping over the cornerback, Kyle Guilfoyle. And Chartiers Valley now trails by 18.
Yeah, for the first 2 weeks of the season, the big storyline with West Allegheny's defense was its inability to stop the run. Both Fox Chapel, who gained 180 yards on the ground, and North Hills, who Melvin Blanks gained over 180 yards himself, had their way with West Allegheny's run defense at times, and the injury of your brother Logan was a big factor in that. But when I talked to Bob Palker this week, he also mentioned that the secondary in the pass defense, although it hadn't been tested in the first 2 weeks, hadn't shown a lot either, and they struggled tonight in the second half with Reed Brueggemann, the skill of Reed Brueggemann having a lot to do with that. But this secondary, along with the defensive line, needs work, and as I said before, Brian Cornell is going to have a lot to say in the film meeting room tomorrow morning.
Score updates from our very own Mitch Montani. Upper St. Clair on top of Baldwin 21-6. North Hills leads 24-17 over Fox Chapel. And Moon and Hampton are in a tight battle. 23-17 is the score with the Tigers on top. Scott, onside kick, bobbled, hard hit, still on the ground, and it's covered up by West Allegheny. A big hit there put on by Thomas Heckroth, the sophomore, and West Allegheny's lucky to have that ball back. Even though there is 3.5 minutes to go in the game, you know, Chartiers Valley, if they score, then all of a sudden it becomes a little more interesting than just an 18-point win.
Yeah, they had a chance to cut it to within 2 touchdowns, and still would have been very unlikely, but at least would have given West Allegheny something to keep in the back of their minds for the last 3 minutes. So, scary moment there, but West Allegheny able to recover that onside kick.
Divin leads his offense back out on the field, backing up Cam Cruz as he hands off. That's Kyle Merritt barreling his way to the 43-yard line. And now Chartiers Valley will have a mass substitution. It's 2nd and 6. Char Valley's starting defense has played its last snaps, and now it's back to the drawing board for the varsity team. The reserves have come in, and West Allegheny looking to capitalize or at least hit the 50-point plateau. They've already reached the most points it's scored all year, and West Allegheny looking to add to it against next-door neighbor Char Valley. Merritt slips and falls as he takes the handoff from Divin, and that'll back them up 3 yards to the 40.
40-yard line.
Kyle Merritt, a sophomore running back, but he's very talented, but he's also very raw as well. Some mechanics to clean up, but that'll come as the time passes as well.
Showing a lot of promise so far in this game, for sure.
And, maybe even next year, Kyle Merritt could be that guy, kind of like how Dante Flatty is now. He's backing up Will Weber, complimenting him very nicely, and you could see that happen with Kyle Merritt next year with Dante Flatty. But a flag comes in. Play clock was at 6, so it's not a delay of game, but it's a pre-snap penalty, and it's against Chartiers Valley. 3rd and 4 will be on tap. Ball spotted at the 45. West Allegheny will march out victorious unless Chartiers Valley can score 18 points in 2 minutes.
And looking ahead to Baldwin next week, you wonder if, as Baldwin's playing Upper St. Clair tough, are they a team that plays up to its competition? Because they got, as of now, the number 1 team ranked in the Allegheny 9, and now they're playing West Allegheny, who's virtually it's a 1A, 1B situation.
Divin rolls out to the left and unloads. Passes through the breadbasket of the receiver, Connor Stout. And it now turns to 4th and 4 from the 45. So, West Allegheny struggling to get anything going. Divin threw a nice ball there, but just went right through the hands of Connor Stout, and looks like the Indians are going to go for it. And correction, it'll be a punt coming up.
The arm strength that Jamie Divin worked so hard on this offseason is really coming into play. Didn't yield results on that previous play, but Divin has the ability to throw the deep ball. As I said earlier, he's more of a traditional pocket passer than Cameron Cruz is. In a limited sample size, Divin is really showing a lot of promise late in this game.
Stay tuned next week when West Allegheny hosts Baldwin next week. As we said, it'll be a much more interesting matchup than we thought, considering that Baldwin is playing Upper St. Clair pretty tough. They're only down by 2 possessions to the Panthers, and Upper St. Clair was supposed to be a team that, other than West Allegheny, was supposed to be the team to beat. But for that game, Brandon Rossite will be on that game. Unfortunately, Joe, you cannot make it.
Nope.
So we'll have Mitch Montani on next week in the game against the Baldwin Highlanders. Looking forward to that game as well. Chartiers Valley hanging around with the Indians as we speak. Down 47-29, but you wouldn't know it by the efforts put on by Char Valley. Colby Stouts runs and gets it away. That's something he's always done very, very well. And there you see why. A nice bounce inside the 10.
And more about Reed Bergman's performance tonight. Granted, it's been Char Valley's first string against West Allegheny's backups. However, like we said before, he's throwing the ball downfield, playing like he has something to play for. And, it's a cliche playing for pride, but that's what Char Valley was doing. And it's become clear tonight that Reed Bergman is the leader on this team, especially since we don't know how long Steve Olsen will be out. They'll have to, for Char Valley to make anything out of this season, really, they have to jump on Reed Bergman's back.
And the Colts have put on a nice offensive display in the wake of Steve Olsen unexpectedly being cut from the lineup today because of injury. We hope he gets better, as Bergman is done for the day, and now is backup QB Griffin Beatty, who also is the kicker. He's only a sophomore, so expect to see Beatty for the next 2 seasons. But a pre-snap penalty will push Char Valley back to the 5-yard line and make it 1st and 14.
Delay a game against the Colts. March back to the 5-yard line.
Most of the fans here at Char Valley starting to pile out on both sides. The stands are emptying as Beatty caught in the end zone. It's a safety.
Safety by
Brock Downing coming in from his corner position, making the sack of Griffin Beatty, and West Allegheny leads by 20. So as we talked about the second half where West Allegheny has struggled, a nice defensive play there by the Indians. I don't want to say shows life because obviously that puts more cushion to the lead, but really it's a nice sign of things to come.
Yeah, that's one of the few bright spots with this defense in the second half. West Allegheny has allowed 21 points in the second half, and that's never going to fly with a Brian Cornell coach team. They have a lot to work on between now and next week, and another storyline for next week at Baldwin will be, can this West Allegheny team put two solid halves of football together? As Bob Palco told me a few days ago, it's hard to gauge what West Allegheny is early in the season for these first 5 weeks, really up until they play Upper St. Clair week 6. But will next week at Baldwin be the game where West Allegheny puts two good halves of football together?
Very interesting final score, not in the Allegheny 9, but in the Big East. The Plum Mustangs dominated Franklin Regional.
Wow.
33-7 was the final score there. As this kick through the hands of the return man for West Allegheny, that's Luke Lambert. Lambert tries to make up for some lost yards and gets down to the 24. So West Allegheny will take over from the 24 with 1 minute and 6 seconds to play here in the game. Some final score starting to pile in on this week 3 night here in the WPIAL. But again, very intriguing that Franklin Regional they got dominated by Plum.
Plum is no pushover. They haven't had great football success, but they're going to be a force this year.
And now Upper St. Clair piling it on Baldwin, who was leading at halftime 14-6. Now they lead 35-6. So Baldwin putting it together a nice first half, but no match as of right now for the Panthers' second half attack. West Allegheny's in victory formation and will take this lead or excuse me, if I can talk properly, we'll take this win out of Chartiers Valley with a 49-29 victory. Also, the Hampton Talbots now lead the Moon Tigers with 30 seconds left in the game, 24-23. Late game heroics by quarterback Ross Anderson. Hampton, if they can hold on, will go 3-0, which is something that I don't think anyone predicted.
They didn't win a game last year, and they've now won their first 3.
At least as of right now. That game's not final yet, but this game is final. West Allegheny victorious over Chartiers Valley, 49-29 is the score. The Indians putting on a nice display in the first half, but struggling in the second half, which against a team like Chartiers Valley, it's not going to kill you, but in future competition, it can come back to bite you.
Yeah, West Allegheny allowing 21 second-half points. As I said before, that's not going to fly with any defensive coordinator. And as intense as Brian Cornell is, it's certainly not going to fly with him either. West Allegheny, again, not putting two good halves of football together. And as you said, against a team like Char Valley, no disrespect to Char Valley, but it is not one of the top teams in 5A. But if West Allegheny continues to show these inconsistent patterns against teams like Upper St. Clair, then that could be a problem as the season goes on.
West Allegheny, a nice offensive performance, well, all-around performance in the first half. It's not all gloom and doom here at Chartiers Valley.
Not at all.
But West Allegheny piled it on early and never looked back, even though allowing 21 points in the second half, as you said, Joe. But the Indians need to clean up from those second half mistakes and look back at the first half at what was. You know, you had Will Weber, who scored 3 touchdowns in that first half. Dante Flatty had a nice game running the ball. Had more carries than Will Weber, as a matter of fact. And Cam Cruz, now you're starting to develop him as the new starting quarterback after developing Jamie Diven, who really only had 1 game. And now Cruz has a little bit more of an advantage playing a Chartiers Valley, now having a Baldwin next week. And Kiski, who's no slouch as well, who defensively they're tough. even though offensively they've been struggling a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how the next few weeks develop. Week 1 of the test for West Allegheny was passed, and now it's back to the drawing board, and we'll see what West Allegheny can do next week against Baldwin. But for my partner Joe Smeltzer, I'm Brennan Rossai. Thank you so much for joining us here on the West Allegheny Sports Network. Once again, tune in next week for Week 4 against the Baldwin Highlanders. Thank you so much. And for Joe and I, this is the West Allegheny Sports Network.